ahead.
I'll take the honor. Tell us how soon you think you'll be able to do a recount so the voters can get an answer, and how long will that take?
Well, we are going to either do the certification on Saturday or Monday, and then if Ms. Norwood wants to have a recount, she has 48 hours to request one after we certify the results, and probably we can get a recount within 2 to 3 days of that request.
Have you counted provisional and veterans ballots yet?
No. We won't tabulate the provisional ballots until Friday after 5. And as far as the UOCAVA ballots, those have the same, because this isn't a federal election, they have the same deadline to come in as regular absentee.
Do you know how many of those ballots are outstanding?
No. I can get that to you.
Do you believe it's fewer than 400?
What? Absentee?
Provisional ballots.
It's 351.
351 provisional ballots.
Yes.
Okay.
And, you know, typically 50% of those are counted.
So the other outstanding ballots then are?
That's the provisionals, it.
That's all.
In the process of certification, just kind of explain what it is that you do to say this is certified and true.
Once we produce the final results after the provisionals are counted, after all the results are counted, then the results are presented to the Board of Registration and Elections, and they ask me if these are the true and correct results. I answer in the affirmative, and they certify them and sign the copies.
And as far as the recount, you said she would have 48 hours if she chose to
pursue a recount?
Yes, because the presumption is that that's already in place.
Well, when you finish within 1%, then you as long as you request a recount, it's automatic. If it's outside of a 1% difference, no recount. There's no recourse for a recount.
So has that request been made?
No, because we haven't certified the results.
When will they be certified?
Either Saturday or Monday.
So the recount wouldn't take place until next week?
Correct.
And based on the numbers that at least we've been shared and that we've been offering, it is within 1%.
Yes, she's behind out of, I think it's 90, almost, out of 80, well, no, that's total. Keisha Lance Bottoms received 46,464, and Mary Norwood received 45,705. So that's what, 90, it's like 92,100 something votes, and it's only 759 separating them. So.
Do you anticipate the recount to go in Norwood's way? Or is that possible?
I've never seen results on electronic counts change. You can see them with the absentee by mail. We had a citywide recount for the November election, and the absentee by mail changed by three votes. And with the paper ballots, they can't change because if you run them through the optical scanner, that optical scanner may read them differently each time.
How many provisional ballots are there?
351.
So even if everyone changed, that wouldn't really change the result?
Well, there's the absentee by mail. There are a total of 700. There's a little over. It's almost 800 absentee by mail votes. It looks like, and so with the absentee by mail at 800, we'll
something absentee by mail?
Yeah, that's what it, yeah, it looks like there were 790, if this is the updated, if, yeah.
Because so
Looks
you
like-
mentioned that you would rerun those. So those were already ran last night?
Correct.
All right, so those are already in the count.
The only thing not in the count are the 351 provisional ballots, and we don't know how many of those are going to count.
Okay, but typically it's about 50%.
Correct.
And then you were saying earlier, unlike 8 years ago in this county, when they were in a warehouse and they had paper ballots and there were 10 people sitting around a table counting paper ballots, this is strictly done. The difference now is that this is strictly electronic, correct?
No, there were, well, I wasn't here, but it was a touchscreen system.
I'm talking about last night. You said you've never seen votes change. I think if you want to reiterate that or clarify it.
Well, on electronic counts, I've never seen an electronic count change. And so that would have been the same thing back in 2009.
Okay.
Because what the county did different, the early voting system wasn't as expansive as it is now. They had fewer early voting sites, but as far as absentee by mail, I don't know what the count was back then.
Right.
The point being, though, that if there was to be a 700 vote swing based on your that would be unusual based on your experience and based on the technology that you've been using.
Yeah, basically every Norwood, yeah.
And those are paper.
Those are paper, correct. Well, she received 437 so even if the 353 absentee by mail that went to Bottoms went to Norwood, that's still going to leave 406, a deficit of 406. So
hit us over the head with the obvious about what what previous experience tells you about what's going to happen in this recount.
correct.
Just a hypothetical, because I'm not sure of the answer. If your certification process reveals that what we are offering right now, total vote-wise, then is different, say it's either greater or less numbers overall once they've been, as you said, certified, where would that then take you, or does that just become the new vote total?
Can you repeat that?
Okay. You got basically 91,000 some odd votes, okay? Say after the certification and the recount, it drops or it goes up higher.
Okay.
Does that mean that just means this is our new final total, or does that mean that whether it changes the outcome or if it did change the outcome?
What happens is if it changes by 3 or 4 votes, then if the results don't change, the certified results stand. If the results change, the board convenes again and recertifies.
Can I just ask you one more? It's a little repetitive, but just to be clear, bottom line, for Norwood to take this election, what has to happen?
Well, all of the, we're going to recount, we have to recount 91,000 votes. She needs to find 759 votes in there.
So what does recounting entail for you all? If it's done electronically, what are you?
We
what is that process?
rerun all of the electronic media out of all of the touchscreen, the DREs. We run all of those through. We run the early voting through.
Yeah.
We run all of the election day through. And then we also rerun all of the paper ballots, absentee by mail, and we rerun the provisional that count. And that's the recount.
How would you? I'm sorry.
And it took us probably, I think, 2.5 hours to do the citywide recount for Julian Bond and his opponent last month.
And what was that number? Was the number different? And if it was, by how much?
It was different by 3 votes.
Were there any complaints at all on election day about anything nefarious going on?
No.
So realizing that you have to do a recount, how confident do you feel about the numbers that you produced last night?
I feel completely confident in them. I mean, I'm not surprised when a paper ballot result changes by a few votes. I mean, you're dealing with optical scan technology, and it's not perfect, so it can change. Over the years, I've been doing this, I don't know how many years, and I've seen paper ballot counts change.
Is there any
But it's
optical-
usually by a few. Well, yeah, all of the paper.
No, I mean, is there any, you were talking about your experience with paper, but when it comes to optical, have you ever seen, you said earlier that it generally is what it is, but have you heard of it?
Oh, you mean with the touchscreen
Yeah.
electronic?
Yeah.
In the recounts that I've done, or we used to, at another county I worked at, we had to do audits after every election. So we had to do a mandatory recount of random precincts and random races, and we would print out the ballot faces from the electronic machines, and we would actually hand count those. And I've never seen, even with the hand counts or running them through, I've never seen those change in 18 years of doing this. The only place that I've seen results change is in paper ballots running through optical scan.
And then how many paper ballots are there?
There are 790 plus there could be 351 provisionals. However, the other thing is all of those provisionals aren't in the city of Atlanta. And I don't know how many of them are outside of the city, but they could be anywhere in Fulton.
Have you had conversations this morning with your counterparts in DeKalb? DeKalb's going to be recounting, and they've got some provisional ballots in DeKalb. Have you had any of those conversations?
No.
Okay. As to last night, can you explain when you all were able to deliver your first vote counts, and
It's probably
why
around
why did it seem to take it seemed like we didn't get, at least we didn't get them until about 10 o'clock. Is that?
It was about probably 9:40, 9:45.
Okay.
But that's because of Georgia law. And Fulton County, we have a bigger early voting program than anybody else. So we can't touch the early voting equipment until the polls close. Then at that point, then we have to close out all of those machines and then run them through. We have to upload those results, and then they're tabulated, and then we post them. And that's a result of the way Georgia law reads.
Okay, so the other counties, if they follow the law, it would have taken them about the same time?
No, because they don't have anywhere near the number of early voting sites that we do.
Oh, okay, so you had to process those early votes before you begin to count day of election votes.
Yeah, the only thing at 7 o'clock on election day morning, we can process the absentee. We can begin processing the absentee by mail. We can't close those machines out until 8 p.m. Takes probably 20 minutes to run the tapes on those optical scan machines, and then it's probably another hour to read those cards individually one by one. Then we also have to close out 250 or so touchscreen early voting machines. We have to close all of those machines out. We can't touch those until 8 o'clock, and then we have to upload those results. So it took us, I think, probably an hour and 35 minutes, maybe an hour and 40 to do that, which isn't that much time.
Do you believe the criticism that Fulton County is terminally slow is unjustified?
We finished last night at 11:35, and it took us 3.5 hours. So I don't think it was slow.
It seemed like it jumped from like 13% to 90%, like in a really short amount of time.
That's just because of the way we when you upload those results, I think the first one was, I don't remember, we had I don't remember how many precincts it was, but it was a small number. But all of those election day results were they were coming in a massive amount from all 5 of our check-in centers. So when we got ready and uploaded and did the next batch, it was almost, the count was almost done.
Do you have a total number of actual registered voters that were available to participate in this?
Well, countywide, 640,861, so countywide, the total turnout was 17.65, which was about 5% less than, I believe 5% less than in November. As far as City of Atlanta, total, that looks like they had 28.8% turnout, which was less than in November as well. Because I think Atlanta had 33% turnout. So, fewer people voted.
And is that just registered voters, or does that include everybody who could register?
That is registered voters.
So there's a big bunch of people who aren't registered, or
we have a pretty high registered voter count in Fulton County because, what this registered voter count doesn't tell you is the inactive voters, and they're all eligible to vote. There's another, I think we have 700 and maybe 20,000 registered voters total in Fulton County, and the population is somewhere around 1 million. I don't know how many of those are younger than 18, but that makes up the bulk of that. So we have a pretty, I think at one point somebody figured out that we probably had about 93%. And it's going up because now every time somebody changes their driver's license, they're automatically registered to vote. It's the only way it's different than before. You have to opt out now if you don't want to register.
But that 7% would bring it down to like 20.
The what?
The 7% who you say who are inactive but could vote.
No, that 7%, they just aren't registered at all.
Right.
I think
so it brings the voter turnout though from 29% down to about 22%.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, maybe not quite that much, but yeah.
Thank you.
Does Mary Norwood, does she have to do something for a recount to happen?
She just submits there's a request that she can submit, and that's delineated in the election code. She can go in there and her attorneys can submit that.
And a recount will not happen if she does not do that?
Correct.
And she does that after you certify the ballots?
Correct. 48 hours.
So she has 48 hours after ballots are certified, and those will be certified by Saturday, you said?
We'll either certify them Saturday or Monday. I need to talk to my board.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Inquisition's over.
Appreciate it.
Well,
Thanks.
Thank you.
New here, not new to this.
Provisional.
But thank you.